And we're back on the Yellowjacket Sports Network. Evan O'Kelly joined now by head men's and women's cross-country coach Dave Coppock. Coach, how are you doing today?
I'm good.
Good. Getting ready for the season here. A couple weeks into your preseason, or maybe it's your first week now with the athletes back. Yeah. Is that correct?
Just a few days. We started Tuesday, so this is our fourth practice today, and things are looking good.
Yeah, why don't you give us a little bit of perspective on each of your teams? Start with the men's team, some of the new guys that you have coming in. I know you have 3 seniors coming back, but start with some of the new players, sort of introduce a couple new runners. I know you only have a few.
Yeah, we've got 3 new freshmen, Kyle McLaughlin, Isaiah Gerard, and Ron Venema, all Montana kids. And so they're they're getting adjusted. Ron seems to be doing really well, especially. He was a good cross-country runner in Montana. And, then we've got some sophomores returning as well. And, of course, we lost Robert Peterson and Matt Winter to graduation, or they've just exhausted their eligibility. And so that left a big hole in the team. So yeah, trying to fill that in.
Well, talk about some of the seniors you have coming back: Josh Panasuk, Jake Marshall, Garrett Love, the seniors on the squad. They've been around in this program a long time. They understand what it takes to compete at this level. Talk about having them sort of lead the way.
Yeah, and they are leading. I mean, they're all part of the top 7 right now, and they look really good. They're ahead of last year, it looks like, and I think we'll fill in that void that we had with having a runner way up at the front, with Robert. But, with the depth of the guys now, I think having Josh Panasuk back, he redshirted last year, that's really going to help us. So I know they all put in a really good summer. So.
Now let's shift our focus to the women's side. Not quite as much senior leadership or experience, but you do have some younger runners who have been in the program for a year or two, and then a lot of new faces as well. Talk about the dynamic of the women's team.
Well, yeah, we do have a lot of new people, and we've got a couple transfers plus the freshmen. And off the top of my head, I'm trying to think if we have 6 or 7 new runners, and then we had a red shirt from last year join us back on the team. So. Again, like the men's team, we're way ahead of last year. So, I see us moving up in the conference, and Rio Frames are kind of our lone senior, and then we have Allie Walker, who's a transfer, and she has 1 more season of cross and 2 years of track. So, with those two kind of leading the group, and then Nikki Aiken is our redshirt freshman. She's gonna do real well. So then we have another freshman. I'd say our top freshman right now is probably Lydia Foster from Gillette, Wyoming, and we want to get her into that top 5. And so it actually looks pretty solid. It looks pretty solid in our top 5.
We sort of talk about the progression that you embody as a runner throughout the season. You're strategically training to hit your peak time right as the competition keeps up. Where is your training at this point as a runner, and how talk us through kind of how it builds throughout the season?
Yeah, we want to work on the endurance component, and that's usually where everyone's deficient, is their endurance, and that takes a long time to develop. So the upperclassmen have been working on that for years. I really feel like taking a high school kid, especially the guys, because they have to go up further in distance than the women do, but they have to get used to that volume of training. So anyway, this first 6 weeks we're mainly working on our endurance, and then we gradually shift gears and try to speed things up and peak for conference. And we're trying to do as much as we can without hurting people. There's a real fine line between overtraining and hitting the right amount of training. And I think it's far more important to keep everybody healthy and be able to run consistently over the season rather than to have just huge workouts all the time. And we try to do that, but if they're especially the women, if they're healthy this year, we keep them all out of the training room. I think they'll progress really well. That's totally the key on the women's team, especially. Yeah.
The biggest thing on the schedule this year, of course, the NCAA West Region Championships. They're being hosted right here in Billings. Just comment as a coach what it means to host that event. We did it 2 years ago, and that was, your first time seeing it. Why are you excited for the 30-plus team field, I should say, to come back this fall?
Yeah, I love to host meets here, especially with bringing the regional schools in that never come up to Montana, and they're just blown away by the area, And it's November's not the most scenic time, but it's a cool time up here, and they really like coming up. We had really good reviews from all the coaches I heard of last time, and it's good for us as a team because we're home. We don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have to worry about the logistics of getting the team around, finding meals, and everything. They could stay in their own bed. It's just really nice, and we get to be on the course, as much as we want. So, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll of course bid in the future because I think it's great for the university and great for Billings to have that event here.
There was an article that featured you in the Gazette when we hosted a couple of years ago, talking about how you've had this vision for a long time, hosting a large meet, and that finally came to fruition when we hosted the regional a couple of years back out at Amen Park. The site had kind of been in the back of your mind for a while. Talk about having hosted it there once and what you learned from that about the planning process and all the groups you get to work with this year.
I used to run out there at noon, because it was all on grass, and I just could jog around and take an easy run at my lunch break, and I always thought that'd be a great course for a championship meet, just because of how open it was, and it was really spectator friendly, and it'd really be easy to set up, and there was a little bit of topography there. You had some berms that you run over, so. But it's a fairly flat, fast course. But it had all the requirements necessary for the NCAA standards, and that was big to have that. We had that big 600-meter straightaway before the first turn, and that's key right there. There's a lot of places that are just ruled out because of that. And, so when we looked at putting in a bid, we went around all over town, looked at golf courses and other facilities, but I came back to Amen Park and said, man, this is the place. So, and so that first year we ran a combined high school college meet for the kind of a preview of it to see how it went, and it was great, and the coaches liked it, and the kids really liked it because. The spectators really liked it because they could see the runners for the whole race. There's no point on the course where you're more than a quarter mile away from being able to watch the runners, so you could see them out there. So, yeah, so it's really exciting to have that back. And I think we got the bugs out. I know how long it takes to set things up. I know how we want to do things, and how much time things take. So, I think this year will go a lot better.
And our viewers certainly can appreciate or even maybe imagine how much planning and timing and everything goes into executing an event like this. But for you as a coach, comment on when that gun goes off and you see these hundreds of runners in different bibs representing universities from all over the region. When that gun goes off and the race starts, what goes through your mind at that point?
I wasn't sure what was going to go through my mind, but it was kind of a sense of relief and then a little bit of panic, but because it's all done. It has to be all done and ready to go. Once the gun goes off, there's absolutely nothing you can do out on the course to help the cause. The only thing you can do is make sure they open, with maybe some flagging to let runners through a certain area, but that stuff should all be taken care of. But yeah, once that gun goes off, it's out of your hands, and you just hope for the best. And it's the same as a coach too. I mean, you could give your runners information out there. You can tell them, what their splits are. You can encourage them a little bit, but they're kind of on their own, and maybe us coaches like to think we do more than we do out there, because I think, we're out there running around and trying to, read splits and stuff, and I don't know if they even hear us. So.
Well, we're a ways away from the regional yet. November 5th, Amen Park in Billings, the West Region Cross Country Championships, right here, hosted by MSUB. Yellowjacket cross country head coach Dave Coppock. Dave, thanks for spending some time with us this afternoon.
Absolutely, enjoyed it.
All right, we'll be right back with a couple of athletes from our cross country teams. Stay tuned here on the Yellowjacket Sports Network.